Hello everyone and welcome. Today I'm going to be doing one of my first fly tying videos for this channel, and I've picked a really simple pattern that's one of my favorites. It's a sculpin leech imitation. Really effective fly, has a lot of movement in the water on its own. It's a great trout spey fly. It's primarily one of the flies I use. Great for beginners, only has a couple materials, and it's a super simple tie. So I'm going to show you how I do it and kind of walk you through some of the steps, and we'll get started. You can tie this in a multitude of sizes, but I've done anywhere from a size 4 to a size 8, but a size 6 works the best for me, I've found. So we're going to start with a lightning strike size 6 streamer hook. Then we're going to start with our lead wire, and I'm going to wrap it to about an inch in width in the middle of the hook shank. I'm using some Semperfli 30 denier red thread. And I'm going to start making some wraps rearward towards the lead wire. We're going to make a little bit of a thread cuff to start holding down that lead wire. I'm going to clip my tag end. And then I'm going to start wrapping over the lead wire to get it secured. And I'm going to start just with some alternating wraps down towards the rear of the hook shank. I'm going to get to that other end of the lead wire, and I'm going to start making another thread cuff. So then I'm going to make some alternating wraps forward again, and then rearward on that lead wire just to help lock it down a little more. So once you get your lead wire locked down and make your wraps rearward, you're going to make a little bit of a thread base towards the back of the shank behind the lead wire. This is where we're going to attach our zonker strip. That's going to make the tail of this fly. So for our zonker strip, we're going to be using hairline gold variant rabbit strips. This is one of my favorite colors. I think it does a good sculp imitation. It tends to be a little darker in the water than it does when it's dry. So I'm going to cut about an inch to an inch and a half section of it, and that's going to be our tail. So once I have that cut, I'm going to preen it back just a little bit, and I'm going to attach it to the small section of thread base we've made behind our lead wire. You do quite a few thread turns to really get this locked in. So once that's nice and locked in, then we'll be ready for our crosscut strips. And for our crosscut strips, we're going to be using the same gold variant as our zonker strip. Now, even though they're the same color with the crosscut strips, they just tend to have a little bit of a different shade. Looks really nice in the water, kind of gives it a two-tone kind of color, animates the fly a little more in the water, at least I think. So then I'm going to cut about a 3 to a 3.5 inch section of that crosscut strip. I like to cut a little more than I need, just having that extra tag end helps with handling. I've noticed that if I make it too short, once you get to the end of your wraps, it can kind of be a pain to get things locked and secured. So I'm going to preen back, and I'm going to pull a little bit of the fibers off of this tag end here. And then I'm going to lock it down on the very back of my lead wire, just in front of the zonker strip. And again, I'm going to do quite a few turns and really get it locked down. And I'm going to kind of angle it off to the side a little bit with your fibers facing rearward. Get that nice and locked down. And then I'm going to make forward wraps back up to my head, and I'm going to hang up my bobbin. Now I'm just going to make, not overlaying, but just kind of side-by-side spiral wraps, kind of preening back the fibers as I go. It's important to lay them side by side and not overlap your wraps, because the backing to these crosscut strips is really thick, and I've made the mistake of it actually builds up really quickly and it's really hard to secure at the end and make your head. So now that I'm at the end here, I'm going to lock in my wraps. I'm going to make 2 to 3 wraps around, or get that secured in so I can trim that tag end. And decide where I want that tag end to rest. Okay. Make a couple wraps, get it locked in. I'm going to hang back up my bobbin. Then I'm going to trim that tag end off. Then I'm going to preen back those fibers a little more, kind of get some of it out of the way. And then I'm going to lock down the rest of that tag end. And I'm going to start forming my head. And I'm going to start by making backward to forward wraps. Now the head of this fly can be whatever size or color you want. I like using the red, it just creates a little hot spot. And if you have thinner wraps, you don't need as big of a head. It's up to you with this pattern. Okay, so once I've got my head finished, make a few more wraps, get everything locked down. I'm going to do about a 4 to 5 turn whip finish. I'm going to get that knot seated in real well. And then just for good measure, I'm going to add a little bit of UV just on the end of this head just to give it a little more durability. And I'm just going to add a dab of UV resin. For this pattern, I tend to use the thinner solar res, just enough to kind of get into the fibers and get that head locked down nicely. And that about does it for this pattern. Thank you guys for watching and for your support as I grow this channel. If you wouldn't mind throwing a like or subscribe my way, that'd be greatly appreciated. And tell me in the comments what you think.